What should I get as my first revolver? That's a good question, but has many answers, so it really depends upon what you're looking to do with it. If you're just looking for something to have fun at the range, I really love 22 revolvers. They're fun to shoot, they're very inexpensive to shoot, they can be kind of expensive depending upon the model you get, but honestly, if you're just looking for something to take to the range, you're going to save a ton of money on ammunition, and they're very forgiving, especially when you're learning how to shoot. I personally like the Colt King Cobra. I got the 6-inch model, has a nice long sight radius, put some nice grips on it. It's tons of fun to shoot, especially if you get some speed loaders. Speed Bees makes some cool loaders that you can get that basically you can preload 100 shots and just keep going. That's a lot of fun. But a ton of companies, Taurus, Smith and Wesson, Colt, Ruger, they all make 22 revolvers, you know, different sizes, stuff like that. So it's definitely, you know, if you're just looking for a range toy, something like that. Now for concealed carry, that's a little bit different, because most people, when they think of a like a concealed carry revolver, they're generally gonna think snub nose, 2-inch, 3-inch barrel, maybe an air weight like a 642 or a 442, 638, something like that. Usually some of them, they're only double action triggers, and I think they're really good for concealed carry, but they could be tough to shoot well, and they could be tough to get the hang of, because especially if you get a lightweight model, say like a Ruger LCR or a 642, that's going to be, you know, more aluminum and polymer instead of steel, they're light and they're snappy, and the grips usually aren't the biggest, and the sight radiuses usually aren't the biggest, making them difficult to shoot, especially with a long double action trigger. So if you're looking to get something like that, I would definitely go somewhere where you can try a few out. Now, I realize I just said, oh, that's tough and everything and they're hard to shoot, but honestly, if you want to get a little snub nose, I would say do some dry fire practice. Get snap caps if that's something you want to do, and just sit there, dry fire, you know, just practice your trigger pull, and that will really, you know, help you figure out the process of learning a double action trigger pull and, you know, getting nice clean shots. Now, if you're looking for kind of like a mid-size revolver, say, you know, just for carry, or, you know, you don't want a 22 for the range, you start getting into like the Smith & Wesson K-frames, you get into like the Ruger GP100. Colt King Cobra has basically the same sights as their smaller, like say, you know, their 2-inch gun have the same sights as their 3-inch, so about the same. So I don't quite put them in the same bracket as, say, like a GP100, you know, or a Colt or a Smith & Wesson K-frame, just because the sights are still kind of a gutter sight. But there's good options out there. It really depends upon what you're looking for. So feel free to respond to this with what you're looking for, and maybe I can help you out more.